Can you feel it? In just 10 short years, entire American towns from the tech valleys of California to the quiet corners of Florida have been unrecognizably transformed. The English signs are vanishing, curry scents replace coffee. Traditional school mascots now share space with Sanskrit. Bollywood rhythms echo down suburban streets once ruled by silence. What was once familiar is fading, and many Americans are waking up wondering, where did my neighborhood go? This isn't just immigration. It's a seismic cultural shift, faster, louder, and deeper than anything we've seen in decades. And whether you embrace it or fear it, one thing is clear: America is changing block by block, classroom by classroom, meal by meal. Stay with us. In today's video, we uncover 10 states where this transformation isn't coming, it's already here. If you care about identity, community, or the future of this country, this isn't just a story to watch, it's a mirror to look into. Subscribe now, hit the bell, and stay until the end, because what's happening may shock you, or help you finally understand what's really going on in the place you call home. Number 1. California. Once the dreamland of innovation, beaches, and American diversity is now ground zero for a transformation that few predicted and even fewer were prepared for. The shift isn't gradual, it's sweeping. What used to be tech campuses, surrounded by suburban calm, are now enveloped in the distinct scent of curry, the sound of Bollywood beats, and a demographic wave redefining what it means to be local. In the heart of Silicon Valley, cities like Fremont, Sunnyvale, and Santa Clara are no longer just tech hubs. They're living portraits of Indian culture, from SAT prep centers for 6-year-olds to Diwali lights competing with Christmas decor. Indian American families are reshaping the educational, social, and economic fabric. Housing prices have exploded, averaging over $880,000 as demand from high-income immigrant families surges. What was once the American dream neighborhood now feels unreachable to many native-born residents. In public schools, names like Patel Sharma and Mehta dominate the honor rolls. Coding classes begin in kindergarten. Local grocery stores carry more turmeric than ketchup. A father from Gujarat now running an AI startup put it simply, "I didn't just get a job, I got the future I designed myself." But for many long-time Californians, the change is jarring. "My child's school used to be challenging but fair. Now it feels like a competition I never signed up for," one mother confessed. It's not resentment, it's disorientation. How do you navigate a community that feels completely rewritten in less than a decade? Number 2. New Jersey. Meanwhile, on the East Coast, Edison has morphed from a sleepy suburban town into a cultural capital of Indian American life. Nearly 1/3 of the population is now of Indian descent. The transformation isn't just visual, it's economic, social, and deeply emotional. Once quiet streets now erupt in fireworks every Diwali. Sari shops replace laundromats. Organic vegetarian restaurants offer Ayurvedic menus. Public libraries host Hindi storytime for toddlers. A resident shared, "I thought Diwali was a dish until my neighbors lit up the block and handed out sweets. I had to Google it just to keep up." Real estate prices have risen over 25% in 5 years, driven by high-income immigrant families clustering around top-rated schools, Kumon centers, and online STEM platforms like Brilliant and Tinker. Suburban strip malls now offer everything from Indian classical music schools to dental clinics run by Rutgers-trained Indian professionals. Services like Instacart and Uber Eats are optimized to meet the specific needs of the Indian community, offering vegetarian options, organic produce, and even religious supplies. It's an economic ecosystem, highly efficient, highly targeted, and growing fast. Yet, beneath the success story, there's a brewing discomfort. Residents talk about the noise, the crowded festivals, and the loss of familiar norms. It's not outright opposition, it's fatigue. "We didn't have time to adapt," said a retired teacher. Everything changed before we even understood it. California and New Jersey are no longer just states. They are symbols of a new America, one where identity, culture, and power are shifting faster than most communities can absorb. It's not just immigration, it's transformation at breakneck speed. And the question isn't whether this is good or bad, the question is, are we ready for what comes next? Number 3. So Texas, known for its cowboy legacy, wide open spaces, and deeply rooted traditions. Texas is undergoing a cultural shockwave that's rewriting its identity. Cities like Frisco, Irving, and Plano are no longer just suburban extensions of Dallas, they're fast becoming enclaves of Indian innovation, wealth, and lifestyle. It began subtly, a new grocery store here, a coding camp there. But now, the Bollywood soundtracks, organic spice markets, and bilingual signage tell a very different story. The transformation isn't anecdotal, it's measurable. Housing prices in key districts have soared over 30% in just a few years, pushed by a surge of Indian American families seeking high-performing schools and tight-knit communities. Inside these schools, the competition is relentless. A local Texan mother said, "My child is smart, but in her class there are second graders already doing algebra." What was once a casual education system is now an academic battlefield fueled by after-school STEM academies, test prep centers, and advanced math leagues. Students aren't just learning, they're training. The influx has also triggered an economic boom. From financial services tailored for immigrants to apps like Boundless and Stilt, helping newcomers with settlement and credit building, Texas is quietly becoming the new epicenter of immigrant success stories. Restaurants now offer Gujarati thalis alongside brisket. Real estate firms market homes near Kumon centers, not country clubs. Yet, beneath this rapid ascent lies a current of unease. "This isn't the Texas I grew up in," one resident admitted. "I don't oppose change, but I feel like I've been left behind." The concern isn't about race, it's about rhythm. Texas was slow, steady, grounded. Now it's high speed, high stakes, and unapologetically different. Number 4. Washington. Head north to the Pacific Northwest, and the tone of change is different but no less profound. In Redmond and Bellevue, the transformation comes not through noise, but through quiet dominance. The presence of tech giants like Microsoft and Amazon has attracted a wave of high-skilled Indian professionals, many of whom now define the local ecosystem. Here, it's not fireworks and fanfare, it's yoga at dawn, curry over quinoa, and coding bootcamps embedded into weekend routines. Streets are still clean, parks are still quiet, but the community has changed. One small family from Pune arrived in Redmond a decade ago. Today the father works in Amazon's IT department. The kids attend STEM-focused charter schools, and the grandmother, lonely and out of place, attends an English for Seniors class hosted at the local library. Average home prices in Redmond now exceed $1 million, a staggering 65% above the state average. This spike, driven in large part by Indian American demand, is pushing out long-time residents and raising serious questions about access, equity, and cultural integration. Elderly Americans in the area speak candidly about their disconnection. "I don't understand the language. I miss the old diners. Now it's fusion food and robot clubs one man shared." But not all reactions are negative. A retired German-American gardener now tends his plants each morning with his Indian neighbor. At first, they seemed distant. Then their kid played with my granddaughter. Now we share lentils and laughter. Washington's version of change is slower, softer, but deeper. This isn't a visible revolution. It's a cultural current that reshapes habits, expectations, and emotional landscapes. Residents don't riot, they wonder, they adapt, or they quietly withdraw. Number 5. North Carolina. Once known for its sleepy charm and slow southern afternoons, Cary, a town nestled in the famed Research Triangle, has quietly become one of the fastest evolving cultural enclaves in the American South. What used to be a picture of stability, green lawns, modest churches, and safe, unchanging neighborhoods has transformed into a living mosaic of ambition, mathematics, and masala. The shift didn't begin with headlines. It started with a single Indian grocery store near the nail salon. Then came a weekend math tutoring center, then a Hindu temple at the edge of town. Today, entire neighborhoods are dominated by families in biotech, software, and engineering, many of them of Indian descent. The impact on local infrastructure is undeniable. Public schools now adjust lunch menus to include chana masala classrooms, offer Sanskrit electives, and libraries stock children's books in Hindi and Tamil. And it's not just culture, it's cost. Cary's housing prices have surged over 22% in the last 5 years, with many homes now selling above asking price. Local realtors confirm that proximity to high-rated schools, robotics clubs, and AP courses has become the top concern for immigrant families, and American parents are following suit. A quiet competition has taken over school hallways and community centers, shifting focus from football games to prep classes, STEM expos, and online platforms like Khan Academy, Brilliant, and OutSchool. This academic arms race is reshaping parental expectations. A local American father admitted, "I used to talk to my son about baseball. Now we talk about test scores and Python scripts." The change is so profound that even senior residents, many of whom moved to Cary for peace and predictability, have begun taking Hindi language classes at the public library, not for travel but simply to say hello to their neighbours. Weekends that once echoed with the sound of lawnmowers now pulse with the rhythms of Bharatanatyam dance rehearsals and youth coding camps. Grocery stores carry fresh turmeric. Bulletin boards advertise Ayurvedic clinics, Vedic chanting sessions and chess tournaments for kids under 10. The transformation hasn't been loud, but it's everywhere. And yet beneath the civility lies a growing cultural divide. A retired couple remarked, "We don't dislike anyone, but we feel invisible now." Everything changed without warning, and no one asked if we were okay with it. Cary remains polite, but the social silence is growing. The shift is not explosive, it's suffocating, quiet, but relentless. Number 6. Georgia. If Cary whispers change, Georgia is starting to sing it loud and clear. The old image of the Deep South church steeples, fried chicken country music still exists, but in towns like Alpharetta, Sewanee and Johns Creek, that image is being redefined in real time. Drive through North Atlanta and you'll see it. A bakery that once served biscuits now offers fresh naan and cardamom pastries. The local library hosts yoga workshops on Sundays. And in public schools, students are outperforming national averages in math and science, thanks in large part to a surge of Indian American families who bring with them a deep commitment to education discipline and multi-generational household structure. Georgia is experiencing a demographic earthquake, and it's reshaping everything from housing to curriculum. In just a decade, home prices in North Atlanta suburbs have jumped more than 35%, largely driven by immigrant professionals in IT, medicine and finance. Realtors now market homes not by square footage, but by proximity to SAT prep academies, STEM charter schools and Kumon centres. The social fabric is being restitched. A former military serviceman, now a father, shared my son was put in a group project with 3 Indian kids. They debated math formulas like they were trading baseball cards. I don't get it, but I know he's learning something I never did. What used to be a calm classroom culture has turned competitive, and many American parents feel both awe and anxiety. Meanwhile, local governments scramble to keep up. Community centres have added coding labs, libraries, offer scholarship prep seminars, and even local churches are adjusting outreach programs to engage with multilingual tech-savvy neighbourhoods. Yet, for every story of cooperation, there are stories of disconnect. I walk into a coffee shop, one woman said, and I can't even recognise the music playing. I feel like a tourist in the town I was born in. But this isn't cultural displacement, it's cultural layering. The newcomers haven't erased the South, they've added to it. The question is whether the old and the new are ready to coexist, or whether they will keep living side by side but never truly together. In playgrounds across Alpharetta, you'll see it clearly. A group of kids laughing, some in English, some in Hindi, some switching between both. Parents watching from opposite benches, each wrapped in their own world. It's a peaceful picture, but also a poignant one. Because while the scenery is changing, the silence between worlds still lingers. Number 7, Illinois. Once a symbol of Midwestern stability, the quiet suburbs of Schaumburg and Naperville are no longer the untouched havens of white picket fences and Sunday barbecues. In the past decade, these towns have experienced a cultural and demographic acceleration that has stunned even the most open-minded locals. The source? A rising tide of highly educated Indian immigrants who aren't just fitting in, they're reshaping everything. You don't need a census report to see it. Just walk down any commercial strip in Naperville. The European-style bakeries, now South Indian dosa cafes. French classes replaced by Python coding workshops for elementary school students. Community centres that once hosted bingo nights are now booked solid for SAT intensives, math Olympiads and classical Indian dance classes. The numbers are sharp and impossible to ignore. Home prices in Naperville have climbed nearly 40% in just 8 years, driven by a wave of real estate investment from affluent immigrant families who prioritise one thing above all else: education. And with that priority comes a cascade of changes, academic pressure, intense extracurricular schedules, and a community built around performance, not leisure. Parents, both new and long-time residents, are feeling the effects. My child is in 6th grade, one mother shared, and she already has a private math tutor, a weekend robotics lab, and daily online lessons on Brilliant. We didn't grow up like this, but now if we don't keep up, we fall behind. Digital platforms like Khan Academy Outschool and Varsity Tutors are no longer optional, they're essential. And it's not just Indian families logging in. American parents are signing up in droves trying to give their kids an edge in a system that's evolved faster than anyone expected. But amid the rising academic bar and cultural vibrancy, a quiet discomfort is taking root. Elder residents, many of whom raised their families in these same neighbourhoods, now feel like outsiders in their own communities. "We built this town for our children," a retired school counsellor said. "Now our grandchildren can't afford to live near us. And even if they could, I'm not sure they'd recognise the place. Naperville once felt like a familiar photo album, pages you could turn and remember. Today, it's more like an endless feed of updates, colourful, impressive, but overwhelming. For some, it's thrilling. For others, it's disorienting. And for many, it's both." Number 8. Pennsylvania. Travel east to the post-industrial heart of the state, Pittsburgh, Harrisburg, Allentown, and you'll find a different kind of transformation. These cities, once powered by steel mills and factory smoke, are now seeing a rebirth powered by something far less tangible: culture, education, and cuisine. The old mills may be silent, but new sounds fill the streets. The sizzle of tikka masala, the rhythm of Hindi pop, and the click of keyboards from startups now operating inside renovated warehouses. Indian restaurants are multiplying, not just serving food, but redefining the local dining culture. Yelp, Google Maps and travel platforms like Road Trippers show an explosion of authentic Indian eateries drawing not just immigrants, but curious locals hungry for something new. It's not just about food. It's about how cities once considered stagnant are being subtly rebooted. Affordable real estate, lower cost of living, and decent public schools have made Pennsylvania's second-tier cities ideal landing spots for immigrant families. "We couldn't afford New York or California," one engineer said. "But here, we could buy a home, send our kids to school, and build something." The impact is undeniable. Bilingual signs are now common in once monolingual neighborhoods. Indian-owned dental clinics, tutoring centers, and specialty grocery stores are revitalizing dead shopping plazas. Local schools report a sharp increase in high-achieving students of Asian descent, reshaping curriculum standards and parent expectations. But beneath the revival lies a widening generational and cultural gap. Elder Americans who once spent their lives surrounded by familiar accents, smells, and customs now find themselves alienated in their own neighborhoods. "My grandson brings home vegetarian food and speaks words I don't understand," a veteran from Harrisburg shared. "I'm proud of him, but I also wonder, what can I still teach him?" For many, the memories of the steel era are fading, replaced by robotics clubs, dual language classrooms, and organic eggless bakeries. It's not hostility, it's heartbreak. A slow mourning for a world slipping through their fingers. Pennsylvania may not have asked for change, but it got it. And unlike the coastal states, where evolution feels like a race, here, the change feels quieter, but heavier. Like snow building up on a roof until suddenly everything creaks. Number 9, Florida. For decades, Florida was America's sanctuary, a place for retirees to exhale, for snowbirds to thaw, for life to slow down. But that Florida, the Florida of porches, palms, and peace, is colliding with something new. And it's not tourists this time. It's a young, ambitious, and deeply rooted wave of Indian immigrants who are transforming the state's suburban calm into hubs of economic energy and cultural complexity. In Tampa, Orlando, and the suburban rings of Miami, the change is impossible to ignore. Curry houses are opening next to Cuban cafes. Bubble tea shops rise across from bingo halls. And in schools once marked by low engagement, the top students now compete in math leagues and robotics championships. One public elementary school in Orlando now reports over 22% of its students as Asian American, a figure that was nearly non-existent a decade ago. A family from New Jersey recently moved to Florida, not for sunshine, but for opportunity. The father works remotely as a software engineer, the mother runs a newly opened dental clinic, and their son walks to school every morning past multilingual bulletin boards and flyers for STEM workshops. It's a peaceful life, but one layered with quiet urgency, a need to thrive, to excel, to ascend. And it's not just immigrants adapting. Native Floridians are reacting, some with curiosity, others with fatigue. A retired couple from Ohio, now living outside Orlando, summed it up. "We came here to slow down, but every time we open the window, there's a new construction site or a new office building. It's like we moved to escape change, and change followed us here." Florida today is two worlds side by side. One world sips tea on the porch, the other strategizes startup launches in a home office. One reads paperbacks by the pool, the other teaches Python to a 10-year-old over breakfast. There is no confrontation, just the slow tension of parallel lives barely touching. And yet there are bridges. Yoga centers offer bilingual meditation classes. Organic vegetarian restaurants cater to both Ayurvedic diets and curious locals. Libraries host English classes for seniors and coding bootcamps for teens. The collision of generations and goals is real, but so is the possibility of understanding. The last one, Ohio. If Florida represents a sun-drenched contradiction, then Ohio is the quiet test of resilience. In Columbus, Dayton and Cincinnati, once proud industrial cities now reinvent themselves not with factories and forges, but with educational ambition and cultural reinvention. Here the transformation doesn't grab headlines, but it's happening in plain sight. Affordable housing, modest public schools and post-pandemic migration have made Ohio an unlikely magnet for Indian families seeking stability, space and a second chance. "We couldn't afford the West Coast anymore," one mother said. "But here we bought a house, enrolled our kids in school and built our life from the ground up." The numbers tell the story. Average home prices in Columbus hover around $250,000, far below national averages, making it one of the last places in America where a dual-income immigrant family can own property without drowning in debt. And they're not just settling, they're investing. In neighborhoods once lined with shuttered factories, you now find tutoring centers online, learning hubs and Indian grocery stores sharing strip malls with local diners. Children of immigrants fill advanced placement courses. Parents organize chess tournaments and cultural festivals. The old Ohio is still there, but it's being slowly repainted in new colors. And not everyone is ready for the change. A Vietnam veteran living in Dayton spoke with quiet resignation. "I don't mind anyone, but I miss the old music in the stores. I miss chatting with my neighbors. Now it's like everyone's too busy, too different, too focused." It's not animosity, it's erosion. A subtle sense that something familiar is slipping away and no one has figured out how to hold on to it. What's unfolding in Ohio isn't explosive. It's a cultural tectonic shift, slow but irreversible. The state that once symbolized blue-collar grit now represents quiet reinvention. There are no protests, no culture wars, just an ever-widening gap between memories of the past and the reality of the present. And in that gap, grandparents wonder what they can teach grandchildren raised in two languages. Teachers wonder how to connect with classrooms where half the students speak a second language at home. And long-time residents drive past new temples unsure whether to feel curiosity or loss. America isn't slowly changing, it's transforming at full speed. From California to Ohio, the old rhythms are being replaced by new languages, new priorities and new faces. Streets, schools and even family dinners feel different. This isn't tomorrow, it's now. And many are asking what happened to the world we knew. If this hit close to home, don't stay silent. Drop a comment. Have you felt this shift in your town? Does it excite you or leave you unsettled? Subscribe, turn on the bell and stay with us, because the next wave of change is already here and it's not waiting for anyone.